GenX Fu Show.
I'm your co-host, Patrick Lugo, and with me is co-host Curtis Fujita.
As a kid, I loved Kung Fu movies. So I went to Chinatown, trained with a wise teacher, and became a Kung Fu master. Sounds simple, right? Not really. My journey, like the study of Kung Fu, was as arduous as it was rewarding, filled with as many secrets as revelations and as much heartache as triumph. It's a defining moment in my life, and while I began studying Kung Fu to learn how to fight, what I discovered was a way to live. Martial arts never came easy to me. I was far from talented, and even farther from being the chosen one. It was only through years of tenacious perseverance that I was able to make steady progress. And so, I was surprised when my master told me that I should teach Kung Fu and share the art outside of Chinatown. I did just that and taught Kung Fu to my own students for 20 years. I always wanted to do more to share the art of Kung Fu with others, but was limited by only being able to teach those within my immediate area. What about the rest of the world? Then one day, I had one of the deepest insights about Kung Fu. I realized that the punches, kicks, throws, and myriad of martial maneuvers are merely the delivery system for the true essence of Kung Fu, the philosophy and way of life. Having worked for years as a professional artist and storyteller in film, animation, video games, and comic books, I realized that I could draw upon this unique skill set to share my passion for Kung Fu with the greater world. And so I created Shadow Ghost, a Kung Fu comic by a Kung Fu master. The first issue is created entirely by myself, from story and art to colors and lettering. Every panel is filled with unprecedented accuracy in its depiction of Kung Fu by a comic book creator who knows from first-hand experience what it means to be a Kung Fu master. Shadow Ghost is a martial arts coming-of-age story about a young man whose search for the truth about a legendary hero leads him to study Kung Fu, and through a twist of fate becomes part of the legend himself. For the first time in comic book history, you can immerse yourself further in each issue with Kung Fu skills technology, powered by Tiger Crane Kung Fu. Scan the QR code at the back of the comic and follow an exclusive link to an online instructional video where I teach you Kung Fu techniques featured in this series. With Kung Fu skills technology, you can do more than just read about the Shadow Ghost saga. You can become a part of it. The first issue is completely finished and ready for print. All that's needed is for you to make a pledge of support so that we can fund the printing of the first issue. Together, we can share the wisdom of Kung Fu with the greater world. Shadow Ghost is the story of Kung Fu. It's about the people, the art, the culture, and the philosophy. It's my story and the story of those that I've learned from, taught, fought, and loved. Join me and become part of the vibrant legacy in a place and time where we might not be the chosen one, but where we can make a choice to be part of something bigger and greater than just ourselves. I'm Sifu Curtis Fujita, and this is Shadow Ghost, the Kung Fu comic by a Kung Fu master.
Hi, I'm Plugo, author, illustrator, comic creator, and the art director for Kung Fu Magazine for more than 20 years. But I'm here to talk to you about a project that's really special to me. It's the middle grade graphic novel, A Tiger's Tale. Imagine the story of tigers and dragons and martial artists and monsters. So when I launched the campaign for A Tiger's Tale Volume 1, I did not know what to expect. But it succeeded thanks to a group of passionate backers. It was also awarded the Make More Comics art grant that year and was later featured as part of an art gallery exhibit. that's why I'm coming to Kickstarter, to cover production fees, printing, copy editing, things like that. Books completed, with the exception of a few pages I've set aside for color over the course of the campaign. This turned out to be a popular feature of Volume 1's campaign, so I thought I'd bring it back for Volume 2. I think it's going to be great fun for everyone. Hope you'll support the campaign. I'm very excited about it. Thanks for stopping by.
All right. And we're live. We are back again.
Curtis, welcome to the Comics Fu Show, where we stand at the crossroads of comics, kung fu, and pop culture of all sorts.
Absolutely.
You're one of my co-hosts.
Yes, I am, aren't I? Yes. Curtis Fujita, introduce myself, comic book creator and a kung fu instructor. My new comic book on Kickstarter, Shadow Ghost, the Kung Fu comic by Kung Fu Masters out. So check it out. I'm going to try and get this right the first time. Without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Patrick Lugo to go ahead and introduce himself. Go ahead, Patrick.
Oh, I'm Plugo, also known as Plugo, right? Author, illustrator, comic creator. My campaign for A Tiger's Tale Volume 2, the wuxia graphic novel, was just funded yesterday.
Yes.
Very excited. We're still looking to make 100 backers out of this campaign, though. So thankfully, we have 22 days to do that. And we have a jam-packed episode today. I'm so excited. We spent our first week, right, celebrating Lunar New Year, and so it was very Kung Fu centric. But then now we're putting the comics back into the Comics Fu Show this week, and so we had a strong start on Sunday. But then I think now we're going to wrap it up huge with our lineup of guests.
Definitely, and these folks are like the perfect. All of our guests are perfect fits, but this is definitely that perfect fit of martial arts, or specifically kung fu, and comic books combined. Like we are of the same mind, right? The same attitude. So I'm so excited. Maybe we could tease it with a little trailer that I believe we have on hand. Maybe we could.
Bingo.
Very, very cool, right?
So awesome. That was great.
Oh, excellent. You want to bring the good folks in?
Yes. Well, let me first introduce Sifu JC Carter. Welcome to the Comics Fu Show. And I would hope you would grace us with introducing your teammates here.
Oh, yes. I brought along my two series artists, my artist for issues 1 through 3, as well as the cover for issue 4, Gregory Maldonado.
Welcome.
How you doing, everybody? Thank you.
And our new series artist, the amazing Taya Ankam.
Hello.
Welcome. Well, first of all, congrats on such an excellent trailer and just the whole thing, you know, says so much. So I'm shocked. Honestly, I'm shocked that it's taken me up until issue 4 for me to like discover it. But I mean, I think that's like a real it kind of shows what indie creators are up against, you know, that even though I'm 110% a fan of the genre, love the work that you're doing, right, from what I've seen, but it still took me so long to see it. So that's like, I don't know, something we should all like take a second.
I gotta find whatever algorithm you're on so that I hit guys like you, because you're absolutely, both of you guys are the exact target market for this audience, and you're coming in brand new, having not read the series yet.
Yeah. I can speak the same as Patrick. I apologize. I'm late coming to it, but I've already backed and I've gotten all 4 issues. So I get to essentially binge it, which I'm super excited about. And this looks great. And I mean, that's a huge hallmark as an independent creator to get to 4 issues. That's no small feat. That's massive.
4 out of 6 so far.
Awesome.
Yeah, actually, I reread issue 1, right? Thanks to the power of the internet. But I also am, you know, excited to get the actual 4 issues, because, you know, you got to have the physical copies. It's such it's so important, especially considering, you know,
it's so nice to hold in your hand and you know, flip open and read. And I'm not just saying this. I've been reading comic books since I was 7 years old. I have a podcast that I do about comic books called The World's Greatest Comic Book Podcast, available every Tuesday on every podcast platform you can find it on. Nice. Anyway, that I read comic books all the time, and I know what I like, and I know what reads well, and I know what looks good. And I got to this is one of the most, when I opened this physical copy the very first time, when I got the proofs back, I was blown away with how beautiful it was. I didn't realize how vibrant and rich the colors were because I was looking at it on a crappy monitor, apparently. I didn't realize just how great the line work was and everything. It just was so perfect, because when you're Patrick, you know this, when you're looking at something, sometimes you're this close to it and you don't really get to back off and see the whole thing until it's in your hand, and then you say, wow, this is better than I thought it was. This is really cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to get my copy of issue 4 to see Taya's take on the character.
Yeah,
definitely. And Greg and Taya, maybe you can describe your involvement with the project, how it came about. Do you know your background a little bit?
Well, JC found me via internet, digital webbing, I believe. He put out an ad for comic artists. He told me about the idea. Sounded really, really cool. Yeah, we started work. It took a little while before we started work, but I think the pandemic was going on at the time. So then we were able to put the book out, and I was able to get through issue 3 and pass it along to Taya. My background is I'm from the Bronx. I'm not a martial artist. I'm just a comic book artist.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Boxing is a martial art.
Yes. Fair enough. Boxing. Fair enough. I do a little boxing. I'm not a Sifu or a master at it, but yeah. So comic artist. I've been drawing all my life. Recently part of the Monster Initiative, which is where I discovered Taya and was able to pass it along to her.
That's great. Excellent. And just so you know, Greg, that's what always concerns as a Sifu, always concerns me when somebody goes, I don't know martial arts, or I know a little bit. That's always the person I pay attention to. When anybody ever says, oh, I've done a ton of martial arts, I'm an expert, those are always the ones we don't worry about. It's the quiet ones. I think Sifu Carter and probably Patrick can agree, right? Those are the ones. Always. So I got my eye on you, is what I'm saying.
plus the Bronx, you know, so the school of hard knocks.
That's a real.
He's been pretty humble. He's got a lot of background teaching it and teaching boxing and things. So yeah, he's being a little humble there right now.
I knew it.
You knew, didn't you? I took one look at him and said he can handle himself. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to. It's the Bronx, right? So
that's right.
And that brings us to Taya. Taya, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your involvement with the project?
Yeah, I mean, it was like Greg said, I met him through the milestone. initiative, which was really great to get to meet artists. I'm still relatively new in the comic book scene. I've been drawing all my life, and when he told me about it, I was very excited because I always loved martial arts. My family's been like watching it, making me watch it since I was like 4. So I was like, what? I get to draw a character who's fighting. I was super excited. So yeah, I'm originally from Atlanta, but I live in Southern Alabama. But yeah, I've been drawing comic books a long time. I also draw it with my twin sister. So we kind of go by like Siamese bros, which is pretty funny. But yeah, so yeah, I'm really excited.
That's great. That's excellent. And I think what's also really cool is let's bring Taya back in. I think we just kind of there you are. You're back. Sorry about that.
My fault.
Not a problem. I think that's also you mentioned the Milestone Initiative. You know, Milestone Media, Milestone Comics. I mean, talk about pedigree, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, bring it full circle. Dennis Cowan, one of the founding fathers, big time martial artist. You know, martial arts aficionado. So, you know, so that's great. That's excellent.
Fun fact.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
this is why SHAOLIN NUN.
Wow.
It's because of Dennis Cowan and Denny O'Neill's. As a 18-year-old kid growing up in Utah in a major about, he had a word, Zen. I'd never heard that word before. That started me down a trip that took me through martial art, through the philosophies, Buddhism and Taoism, into the martial arts, and then eventually led me here.
That's excellent. You know, that's great.
Yeah. I think I was 10, 15 years ago, some students asked me, what got you started? And I said, oh, well, I took a class in Taijiquan and fell in love and apprenticed in it. And they said, oh, well, what got you? Why Taijiquan? Why not something else? And I said, oh, a friend of mine told me that because of the way he'd heard about Taijiquan, and he said, that's the martial art for you. And I said, why? He said, I don't know, except the guy talking about it sounded like you with all the philosophy talk that you give. I said, oh, it focuses on philosophy. I want in on this one. So I found my Sifu, and that's how I got started. And then they said, well, why were you into the philosophy? A comic book. And as I was leaving after I thought, where's that comic book now? It may have existed, but it certainly wasn't in my purview. And I read a lot of comic books. And I thought the only way we're going to have, where's that comic that could excite someone in a small town or in a homogenous area to branch out and find something that is bigger than himself. And I said, well, you're going to have to write it, dummy. So I sat down and wrote the SHAOLIN NUN.
That's great. And it's that can-do attitude, right? It's so important, and you never know what's going to spark the imagination of somebody to do that. So that's amazing.
Can-do was pulling teeth to get me there because there were a lot of things in the way to make this happen.
Oh, sure.
Primarily, I chose a woman and a woman who's Chinese to be my main character, and I'm neither a woman nor Chinese, so I had to figure out how to write that so that I could write about it and not make it one of those books, one of those books.
Okay, I mean, let's. I think Kung Fu and martial arts, I think for everybody here to some degree,
Mm-hmm.
is an adopted culture, right? I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
we're kind of I was talking to Patrick the other night, I think about it, and it's kind of like when you adopt another culture, you always kind of remind yourself that you're a guest in that culture, no matter what the case, as involved or steeped as you can be, right? But that being the case, I would be curious to hear from each of you. How did you, because none of us are Chinese female nuns right now. Maybe in the future, who knows, but not now. So I'd be curious to hear how everybody kind of took on that challenge of going that different route, adapting it, from that viewpoint.
I've got the haircut for it. I'm starting.
Yeah.
When I sat down to write this story, in my mind, I pictured a male martial artist in San Francisco, kind of looking like Daredevil, being, in the shadows, being a protector of the city. the more I pulled away from the common cliches of comic books, the more I moved toward, I think this character needs to be a woman, because there's little female representation, especially in martial arts comic books, let alone comic books in general. So I thought she needed to be a woman. And I caught an image, something Marvel was doing at the time, and they were bringing back Moondragon, and they were taking her out of that gown she always seemed to be in back in the 70s. And I saw this image of her, and I thought, wow, that is an amazing image that they've created of Moondragon. And immediately my character lost all hair. You know, I just said, no, she's got to be bald, which then I said, well, the only reason she'd be bald is she's monastic. And so I started studying what that means to be a bhikshuni, a female monastic in the Buddhist tradition. And that was a lot of research. But then I kept writing her as white because I'm white. But then I kept thinking, they're going to tell me I'm writing the Great White Hope again. And I thought, well, what if she's Chinese? And I said, okay, how do I write her to be Chinese? And I came up with a solution, which is in the books. You'll have to read the books to understand my solution. And you'll laugh when you read it because you say, I see what he did there. I was able to write the character that way so that she could be Chinese, but I could still write her as an American, growing up an American. And everything else there have been writing challenges for her. For example, I have a scene in issue 2 where a guy comes looking for the girl they're hiding, and I had to make sure he didn't directly ask her, is the girl in the temple? Because as a bhikshuni, she can't tell a lie. And I didn't want her to lie to him. So fortunately he does. I said, well, he can't ask her directly. So I'll have him ask her in a roundabout way because he's trying to be deceptive, and that will let her off the hook. So I had to let her off the hook so I didn't have to force her to lie. I'm focusing more on the first precept of Buddhism, which is you don't take life, as the challenge for her by the end of the saga. But I didn't want to have to pull in the other precepts and make those make her ignore the other precepts. Yeah.
Excellent. And Greg, as the initial artist on the series, how was it taking on the project? This character, the culture. You have a martial arts background, but this is a different martial art. What were the challenges? How did you take that on?
Well, it was fairly easy. So not fairly easy, but being a child of the '80s, The Last Dragon was a huge influence on me. So that was kind of my jumping on. The kung fu action. Obviously, that was the easy selling point. But the character Heather is actually the one that I kind of took to in the storyline. So you read the first issue, you'll see her, the intro to her, and that's where I kind of jumped on. Yeah,
that's great.
That's intentional because Mei-Yin is an ideal. She's something that's going to be very difficult for anyone to understand because we are aspiring to her. We want to be her. Heather is a flawed human being, always on her phone, always in her head. I actually use thought balloons, which is something nobody uses anymore in comic books, because I want to show she's always in her head. She's always got that monkey mind, just talking to her. And I think everybody relates to that. We get her, we understand her. And then I had to bring in a hot-headed cop as another character, because for those who maybe are more focused on the Type A personality, that they'll relate to her a lot more. So yeah, it's intentional to have a character to not have you relate to Mei-Yin in any way. Yeah.
I also noticed that along with the thought balloons, you did an interesting, how would you call it, like a narration / emoji / text messaging, which I really appreciated.
Yeah, I got to design some emojis for some text messages, which was fun.
Very cool. And Taya, how is it for you coming, having these challenges, but also coming onto a project that's already been established and kind of picking up on that? How is that?
For me, I'm a huge cinema person. So I just went to movies. I went to anything I could think of. For me, my older brother, he kind of inspired me a lot of with a lot of martial arts. And I think I just watched before, like when he told me about it, I watched My Young Auntie.
Yeah, classic.
And I was like, I really like the style of how like women fight instead of like men. It's more fluid. So I wanted to really kind of put that spin on it. And I think like you guys were saying, like Heather being the flawed person, and I wanted, to backpack on that. It was really fun because it's easy to draw a superhero. And then drawing a flawed hero is like, that's just extra stuff. So yeah, it's pretty fun.
That's great.
That's excellent. Can I just mention one thing, Greg? You mentioned The Last Dragon, and can I just tell you a story about how influential that movie has been? Like in my work for Kung Fu Magazine, I've met a lot of a wide range of martial artists. And one of them is the Guinness Book of World Records holder for catching arrows, right? And he specifically set out to learn how to do that, inspired by that movie. Like he pretty much sculpted his life to be able to catch an arrow. Wow. He could even do it blindfolded.
He hasn't attempted to catch a bullet, I hope.
No. Well, it depends. Does a paintball gun count?
Yeah, that's pretty close. That's pretty good.
It's not. The guy just earned 2 more world records, so he's like up to like 56, and some of them is like catching the most amount of paintball guns in a minute, and like whole. So, cool. And it all started from The Last Dragon. So I just think that's just like amazing.
Fun fact to add on: the first convention I did, which was 2 years ago. The actor that played Bruce Leroy was actually at the convention, actually just behind me. So that was pretty cool.
Time-at.
Awesome.
Time-at. Yeah.
That's great. That's excellent. Now, if I can see Sifu Carter, so your background is in Tai Chi.
Yes.
Is it a specific family of Tai Chi or lineage, or?
I'd say the lineage is fairly unique. Mm-hmm. My Sifu was a yoga instructor, and he learned yoga in the 60s.
Okay.
So it's a very different kind of yoga than yoga is now.
Yeah.
And he was teaching a class one day in a park to a bunch of people his age. And this guy came up and he said, "Oh, you're doing yoga. Yeah, that's cool. I was into yoga, and then I found Tai Chi." And my instructor, Bill, said, "Well, what's Tai Chi? Turn us on to it. Show us something." He goes, "Well, you'll have to punch me." Bill was a former boxer like Greg, and he knew how to punch. And he said, "Are you sure?" And he said, "Yeah, man, punch me as hard as you can." And he said he hauled off and punched him, and the guy just did this. And he said it felt like he just brushed him, even though he knew he connected. He felt like he just brushed him with his fist. And he was blown away by it. And he said, "Can you teach me?" And the guy said, "No, man, I'm not into that." He said, "You'll have to find a master." And it took him a few years, and he finally found a master who would I've only ever heard his name was Gary. And Gary allegedly learned from a member of the Chen family, who in the 60s, there was a double forbiddance there. One, you weren't supposed to teach white people any martial arts. We saw that in the Bruce Lee story, right? And then second, you weren't supposed to, he wasn't supposed to teach his family style, the Chen family style. But Yang had learned from the Chen family, and they knew his form. So he said, "I'll teach you Yang's form." So he learned Yang's form from a Chen master, and then passed that along. So that's kind of our weird little lineage for our Tai Chi.
That's great. And so when you did the story, you based it, in Shaolin and
yes,
White Crane. Was that a creative decision? What was being, you would assume, right? The first thing would be, oh, you do Tai Chi, that's what you're going to put in the book.
Yes,
but
that was the original assumption, was I would do something Taoist. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't be Tai Chi, but it would be Wudang style. Since I'm a huge fan of, go figure, of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, because it's Wudang.
Sure.
And I thought, well, I'll just do Wudang style. And I started coming up with an idea of how a temple would work and everything. But I still had that image of the bald woman, and I thought, and originally the title of the book was called Zen, a Kung Fu story. And then the first volume was going to be called, the first 6-issue story was going to be called The Shaolin Nun. And I thought, you know what, that's a better title. Let's just call it Shaolin Nun. And I thought, well, has there been a Shaolin nun? And that led me to looking up and doing research and finding out about Wu Mei, who you saw I talk about in the trailer. And then, of course, Wu Mei's most famous story is this young girl named Yim Wing Chung came to her to have her teach her martial arts. And rather than spending years like you would in the Shaolin Temple learning martial arts, she looked at what Yim Wing Chung could do and then taught her based upon her abilities, basically did a bespoke style of Kung Fu for her and then sent her on her way. And that's, boom, you cut that off. That's where Wu Mei's story ends. And I said, that should be where it begins. What if she's alone up in this monastery, but women start hearing about Wu Mei, about Wing Chun, and rather than going and taking lessons from Wing Chun, they actually go up to the monastery to take it from the master, who again looks at creating a bespoke style that fits with women, that fits with these women. And so that became that 200-year lineage of that being passed down, after Wu Mei had died. And that's what the Wing Chun, or what Crane Monastery is all about, is teaching these women that. So it's not White Crane style, because White Crane style doesn't come from Wu Mei. It's just called White Crane style. Wu Mei, the only ones we know, there are a couple of styles that are attributed to her. Wing Chun is the most definite, which I like that it was Wing Chun, because Bruce Lee is a big hero of mine. And I thought, well, if I'm writing about a Kung Fu star, I got to have some Bruce Lee-isms in there. Maybe not all of them. The arrogance I can do without. But I thought, what if we have a little Bruce Lee stuff going on? And that created this, that worked from that. I mean, I thought, well, going off of Wing Chun, that'll work really well. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, as we're kind of hitting that, mark of the show, maybe we could talk a little. Patrick, you think maybe it'd be a good time to talk about the campaign and maybe go over some things with people watching?
Yes, we definitely should do that.
Yeah.
There is, however, one thing I just want to share with you really quickly, because it's just such a great example of art imitating life and imitating art and that whole thing. Mm-hmm. So I had hoped to give you a better presentation of it, but I mean,
I love these girls.
Yeah, it's just like, real art imitating life. They're mm-hmm. really out there doing humanitarian work, mm-hmm. making the world a better place. And so just the fact that you are tapping into that and bringing it to comics, I mean, that's just, awesome, right? That's what I think comics are best at, or that's what I think art is best at. So
I've had more than one backer comment on that they love reading about the Kung Fu nuns, the actual Kung Fu nuns, and that they were excited to see a comic book that, I said, well, it's not about them, but it is about, a Kung Fu nun. And I don't see, what I've done is, because I could put Wu Mei by herself, isolated, hidden away, a secret told to women only by women. She has no male influence remaining in her monastery. So all the little prescriptions that come with being a bhikshuni kind of fall away. And you're down to just the basic, follow the Shaolin code, follow the tenets, the precepts, and that's all we ask for.
Yeah, I love it. I'm so, let's see, I'm right now racing to make your campaign page.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I'd just like to comment on is, that's the great thing about Kung Fu and that history is there is a history of female practitioners and, mm-hmm. and that's a great legacy. And it's great that you're bringing this in a modern, setting. So here's the campaign page. Very cool.
So as you can see, proof I'm a backer and quite proud of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And Yeah, one of 90. So, and 29 days to go. You went longer than the typical 30-day recommendation. That's
Yeah, I chickened out doing 30 days because I've got a large amount of money to raise. The lion's share goes to my creators, by the way. No money goes in my pocket. The majority of it's going to go to my creators. Another quarter of it goes to paying all the printing costs to print rewards. The rest goes to shipping and all the other little costs that come along with it. As I was estimating it, I said, well, I could set it at 6,500. And then I thought, nope, I'm going to need that extra 500 because this last time I was well into the red, over $500 because costs went up on things. So I decided to add the other 500 on, and I thought, I can't leave this to chance of 30 days and done, because it's all or nothing. If I don't make my funding, I don't get that $2,000 that $2,600 I've raised. I get nothing. I have to start all over again and do it all over again. And Taya gets to wait another campaign before she gets paid. So I want to get everybody taken care of.
Well, I love this cover. And I think it seems obvious there seems to be a certain reference to the people behind. I see the TMNT one, and I see four people that look like Renaissance artists of unnamed origin. It looks like. Is that am I correct in my assumption here?
So in the story idea, I don't want to give away the story, but there's four guys, with certain weapons that match four turtles. So I was inspired by probably the most successful indie comic, which is TMNT 1, and to do a cover, an homage to it. Yeah.
That's great. I love the writing on the bill on the thing and the graphics being there inside the setting. Really clever. Very cool.
Thank you.
Will Eisner lives.
There's another version of the cover which Taya did, which is I'm waiting to get my hands on that, which is pretty cool. So I think it's limited to only 100 copies, if I'm not mistaken.
Limited to 100. Yep.
Exclusive. Nice.
So if you're back in the campaign, maybe you show up for both covers.
Yeah. It's got some great character design work here, huh?
This is what Taya sent me when she said she was interested in being my artist, and I said, well, okay, I think we're onto something here.
Great work. And was that done digitally, or was that done
It was digitally.
It looks great. I love how you have the volumes. I think that's something a lot of people don't get, is the idea of how to turn the form. You really have those volumes in there, which is excellent.
Thank you.
Great work. Excellent.
And here we have some action.
Yeah.
First issue's action.
And can I just say, for people that are interested in backing, right? So the fact that this is the 4th issue, that means this team delivers. That's a huge thing in the crowdfunding comic book landscape, where people will fund things, and sometimes it's very established artists or creators, and you just don't get your book, or you don't get it in a timely fashion. I mean, right here they have a track record of being successful and delivering to their backers. So that should set anybody's mind at ease about it.
Sometimes it takes longer than we want it to, but we get it out. Every backer should have received their stuff by now. Yeah, I was pushing T-shirts out. I don't recommend going through TeePublic, by the way. I was pushing T-shirts out until just the weekend before the campaign, before I launched this campaign. Wow. So I finally got the last T-shirts out that weekend, and I thought, wow, this has been a long haul. And it was all the prices ticking up because of the pandemic inflation raise. Yeah. And it just hurt too much. So yeah.
That's great. And I mean, I love that you've got some easy entry tiers, right? So easy $5 to get in, to just pick up a comic pick up a comic straight up, right? Yeah, not everything. Can't someone buy a comic that's not a number 1 anymore?
But nice if you can go ahead and buy. You can go ahead and back for issue 4, and then in the add-ons, you'll just pay the same amount that you would in the printed set to buy the other 3 add-ons. The other 3 is add-ons. So there you
go. Problem solved, right? Win for everyone.
Any way you want to do it. Yeah.
I think I'd like to add too. what Sifu Carter was explaining too. I mean, all these funds go to the creators.
Oh, slow down a little bit, Patrick. I want to point back onto that last one.
Go back up.
I want Sifu Fujita to see the
Ooh,
finger work that
nice,
Ian is using.
right on the artery.
And you might notice, when Greg originally drew it, it was the standard, straight finger.
Yeah.
And I said, I've done that. It hurts. It's jammed my finger every time. I usually cross my finger over, my middle finger over my index finger, so that when I jab, they can bend and actually still deliver the same force.
That's great.
And I took a photo of my hand like that, and we were in a group chat with our inker, Yari, and she was like, "Wow, it doesn't hurt my hand as much." I said, "Hang on, before you do that, this is a real strike. Don't do this on other people." But yeah, it was fun to have that realized, because I said, "Yeah, no, I think let's show this correctly. Let's not break people's fingers or jam people's fingers."
And the thumb's pulled back, right, which
Yep.
adds the extra tension. I love how you illustrated the neck muscles kind of
Mhm.
turning and caving in.
Because it's just right in here.
Yeah.
And if you hit that dim mac point just right, according to dim mac stories, you'll knock them out.
That's great. What I love is
it's a comic book. We can have dim mac be a real thing.
I love that not every panel is a flying sidekick. Flying sidekick, the most overused martial art trope in all of martial arts comics. There's so many more techniques than the flying sidekick. I want to pour a moratorium on the overuse of flying sidekicks. So thank you.
Our flying sidekick in the first issue works because she's jumping off a building.
Well, there you go. The
Dropping
context,
down
right?
on him with a kick. So,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
I see a really nice
Issue 3,
color
this fight scene is kind of our homage to. Go ahead.
Oh no, I just see a really nice color scheme where there's a lot of purples and greens. There's kind of a theme to your book color-wise, which is really nice.
That is all credit to.
That's all
to
Lala.
Yeah.
Yeah. As 100%
amazing.
Lala. She is setting the color palette on these, and it is beautiful. So this is kind of this fight scene's kind of Greg and mine's our homage to Nightwing, with the Eskrima sticks, and then the leap through the car on that second page, on that page on the right, or on the left, that leap through the car. That's kind of a Nightwing move. So we wanted to play with some Nightwing stuff a little bit.
Cool.
Excellent.
Yeah.
But then you're always up against a gun.
That's the challenge.
Right, the perils of gun fu.
Yep.
And here we are. We see.
Now you're going to see some of Taya's gorgeous artwork.
Very nice. Great composition.
Tay, would you like to walk us through a
This
little
will
bit
be,
of?
This will be inked and colored once we've funded. We'll have this inked and colored for everybody, so we'll match up with the rest of the books.
Great.
Look at that establishing shot.
Yeah.
So can you tell? I want to know a little bit of how it was to translate the script into this action sequence. Taya, could you?
Yeah, I really do love this page. It was page 17. And I think that this was the first page that he gave me for like the tryout page. So I really wanted to go all out with it. Yeah, like the story, I kind of like broke it down. Like for me mentally, I like to break the action down. So I think it was just like for these 3 panels in the middle, it was actually supposed to be 1 panel, but I was like, no, I want to slow it down. So I put 1 hit, 2, and 3. So it just kind of moved better to me. So that's what I did. Yeah, it was really fun.
Great. I love how you have the panels kind of coming at us too. That kind of foreshortened panels, which is really nice.
And I appreciate the fact that the Shaolin tonfas are actually longer than the traditional Korean tonfa.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, these are supposed to be police nightsticks.
Oh, okay.
She gets them from some SWAT officers. In a previous page, the SWAT captain says, "I'd feel better if you had a weapon with you," and he's trying to hand her a gun. She goes, "I'm not really good with guns, but could I take that?" He said, my baton, sure. And he said, "Do you know how to use it?" She said, "Do you have a second one?" And then she kind of swings them around and runs off, and he says, "Do you think she'll teach us how to do that?" Yeah, these I wanted her to have tonfa from the very beginning because that's my preferred hand weapon, and but I wanted to give a little Nightwing, since Greg and I were both Nightwing fans. So I wanted to give a little Nightwing and have the Eskrima sticks at first. Nice. But she broke one, so now she's gonna get the tonfa.
Very nice work.
That's so great.
Yeah.
And so let's we've got to get a comic with a t-shirt. We have to work our way there. So there we have our digital, right? Mm-hmm. Excellent. And as the guy who was a designer for Kung Fu magazine for for as long as it was in print, can I say the little scroll work and all of those little extras I appreciate, because
thank you.
The bosses always wanted to make sure they were in there. And here, this is the collector's limited edition.
Nice
cover. Is this the cover that we were talking about just moments ago?
Yep.
Beautiful.
And her sister are in the process of coloring that right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'll have a colored image up probably before the campaign ends.
Yeah.
Oh, that's excellent. Cool. Well, keep us posted so that we can also update folks when that color gets revealed. Because we're very much about the up to the moment update on these things.
Taya asked me what I wanted for that cover, and I said, "Well, I've been thinking about the Charlie's Angels silhouette. With you've got one in the middle's on a walkie-talkie, then you got one with a gun and one doing kung fu." And so she kind of took that to a different. It's not the silhouette, but it's definitely an homage to Charlie's Angels, which I really like.
That's great.
Well, now I'm just wondering how that's going to be played out in the color scheme as well. So, very, very exciting.
It's $20. You can get all 4 comics in a digital in PDF format for $20.
That's great.
No shipping fee. You'll get them before everybody else does, because you don't have to wait for me to get the comics printed and then sent back and then sent back out to you. You'll get them right away. All things digital for $20.
It's a great deal. And if your long boxes are getting too full, you don't have any more space, digital's the way to go. I mean, you can fit as many comic books as you have memory. So that's
exactly.
Excellent.
It's a great way to get them. And we would, if I had 100 of you backing at the $20 level, then I think a lot of my problems would be solved.
There's still time.
Yep, there's still time.
It can be done. It must be done.
Yes. Must be done.
Yes.
Failure is not an option.
Yes. Here it is, right? The issues 1 through 4, the whole run.
Mm-hmm.
And how many pages is each issue?
22 pages of story, so 32-page comic book, standard comic book length. Mm-hmm. Greg and I have been talking about, I'm thinking about writing some backup stories starting with issue 7. So this is going to go beyond issue 6 as long as we're successful in our campaigns. Right. And we can find a diamond publisher that will put us in every comic book shop across the country. With issue 7, I've been talking about doing what Chip Zdarsky's doing right now with Batman and Daredevil, and that where he's putting in an 8-page backup story so that there's no room for ads. There's no room for filler or fluff. You have a 22-page story and then 8 pages backup, and then you just wrap the cover around it.
It's great.
It's awesome. And I'm seeing Kickstarters with like the $15 per issue price. So this is just an awesome, way to just get caught up.
I was holding these at originally the books were $25 to get them, because that was pretty much matching what it cost me to have them made with all my, paying the art fees and everything. And my inker Laurie Foster, who runs Unlikely Heroes Studios, said, "You need to drop your prices. You'll get more backers." And she needs to be proven right. So let's get people in by backing this. Now that I've dropped my prices.
Yeah, for sure. It's that crazy. It's like some crazy alchemy to how to get that, that mix just right. Because we're up against a Marvel comic for that's what, $5, but it's those things are mass produced.
Exactly.
And
these
those
are,
artists aren't being treated as well, I suspect.
Sure.
honestly, aside from what Greg and I produce, because Greg prints them for his shows, for comic book shows, and I have the ones I produce for the backers. That will be it. And if we go to a publisher, that will be, everything gets handed over to the publisher. These will become rare, short-run comics that could have a huge amount of value, particularly when you've got two artists who are part of the Milestone Initiative working on these books.
I know.
This is an investment not just in our future, but in your future as well.
Love it. No, I mean, I saw that the HBO had that documentary on the Milestone thing, which was great. So, I mean, maybe I saw you folks there for like all of a second in one of the scenes.
You blink and you miss them.
Yeah,
we're gonna go back and watch. And it's you're speaking about the rarity again. TMNT, right? The rarity. You guys remember they had like how hard it was to get that black and white issue, and then the second issue there was like 5 printings.
Yep.
Exactly. I was going to ask what's the asking price for that original TMNT issue 1.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's the kind of thing you're looking at, because they went through reprints, and once the reprints hit, that was what everybody was buying.
Oh yeah. And I just have to compliment the logo, the Shaolin Nun logo. I love it. It evokes kung fu. It has like a touch of the kind of 70s kind of grindhouse vibe too.
I couldn't possibly be influenced by kung fu movies at all.
Yeah, exactly. Coincidence. Who designed it?
I did.
You did great. Good job. Excellent job.
Thank you.
Great. Really great.
Got to put my graphic design skills to some use here, since I'm not a good illustrator. That's why I hire illustrators. But I can do graphic design. I can knock it right out of the park.
That's great.
Along with teaching Tai Chi and running the world's greatest podcast and writing a comic.
Yep.
There's graphic design in the mix.
I have 4 jobs and only one of them actually pays me. So.
Well, welcome to the life in the arts, right?
Exactly. That's life in the arts.
Right. Martial or media, whichever.
Love these sketches. Great studies there.
So that's just a sample, but Taya will do a digital sketch of whatever you want.
Nice.
And you can call it an NFT. It's not really an NFT, but you can call it that. You can pretend it's an NFT. You can think it's an NFT. And we'll throw in a comic book for you, just with her cover, so that you can have even more Taya art as part of your. Yeah.
So Taya, what are you using for reference for this stance work?
I think for me, I use a lot of movies.
Are you sitting there with the remote and just hitting pause?
Yeah, I pause it. I'm like, I love that. So I'm just like, I draw real quick, and then I try to practice. Like, me and my sister will try to like draw it real quick, and then we'll draw it again. And then so that's where these sketches, I was like, I just want to keep drawing them so that I can get used to them in motion and stuff like that. So
that's great. I've spent a good amount of time watching like Shaolin Temple on the iPad and just doing screen captures.
Oh, yeah.
And then later on, just go through them after the fact.
Yeah.
I like the flow of the clothing too in her sketch work. It's really evocative of some classic stuff. It looks a little like a Patrick Lugo in some ways, with the way the clothing is flowing.
There you go.
Yeah.
Could it be? I've been spending my whole life working on branding that reference, right?
Yeah, as a reader of Kung Fu Tai Chi magazine, I was very familiar with Patrick Lugo art.
Yeah, definitely.
It's been a long time. So look at this. Is this guest appearance with us?
Yep. That page is literally one that happened in issue 3. We had 4 people pay for a guest appearance, and they got drawn into the issue, as extras. Basically, you're an extra in a movie, and we'll send you a comic book so you can show it off to friends, family, coworkers, total strangers that you're in a comic book. You got drawn into a comic book.
That's great.
That was a lot of fun, actually.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I love that. Such a great feature of crowdfunding stuff. You get neat stuff like that, Great stuff.
I mean, Marvel they'd botch it if they were going to do that.
Yeah.
Now here we go. We're going to dump a bunch of stuff on you.
Yeah.
The Warriors bundle.
Yep.
That's great.
Got the digital copies, printed copies, T-shirt, poster,
Posters.
poster
I'll give you
sets.
a
That's
poster
right.
set.
Nice.
And some original art prints that I still have left over that Greg and I were doing as part of our original stuff. So
That's great.
I've got a few of these art prints left over that I would love to send out to people. So yeah, you'll get our original art prints as well.
Oh,
I'll take one.
Very
So
cool.
this is like the perfect thing for the, when little Johnny starts his kung fu classes, right? And then you could just get little Johnny the whole set so that he'll stick with it.
That's right.
Very cool.
And then at this level, I'll make you a character in the book. Not just an extra. You'll get a speaking part. We'll name a character after you.
Wow.
We'll name a character after you. You'll be able to say that character is named after me. That's all you get. There's no other rights to it. You get to say that character is named after me.
That's great.
We may or may not draw it to look like you. It depends on how you look. A certain dynamic look. Maybe we'll maybe we can use you, kid. But otherwise,
We could treat it as a before and after thing,
exactly.
Yeah.
Before training kung fu, after training kung fu.
Excellent. Oh, I love how you changed the color for the add-ons. I like that, how you kind of inverted it. Very nice.
Yes, welcome to the Graphic Design Hour podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
I threw a color overlay in the middle of the set so that everything after that I put after that would be blue.
That's great.
Patrick knows how you do that.
Yeah, great catch. Ooh, I love that sticker. I love the silhouette, the shape. That's really nice. Very nice. Ooh. Cool.
The digital
You get all your digital copies. You can get all of
So
your
smart for
Mhm.
sure
posters.
to like let people add on, right? Let people,
Yep.
maybe Jenny's going to that kung fu class also, right?
And when it comes to the 5x8 posters, they're easier for me to ship because I can just put them in the Gemini mailer with the comic book. But it's you can pick up whatever cover you like, or all 5 covers if you want. We'll have the 5th cover available as one of the add-on posters as well, so you'll be able to get all five covers if you want it.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, there's that great shirt.
Plain and simple. That's what we wanted, and I can have those made easily and without having the hassle that I've had to go through.
Oh, those are great too because it reads. You could be at a convention and you can see that across the room. I think sometimes people forget about that whole graphic design element. But this reads really well. So that's excellent.
I know. I mean, you could like buy 5 of these for like the demo team of a kung fu school, right? And if it's all girls, you could totally like just get the gold sashes and then the traditional from the waist down. That's the show. That's the tournament stopping
Pretty
demo,
good
right?
price for team T-shirts there. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's just like, reach out to your local kung fu school. Get them to sell your book.
I love
So at this point, I'd love to be talking about my stretch goals, but it would be nice to hit my goal first, because then the stretch goals come after. But I can tell you with the stretch goals, whether you back at a digital level or a physical level, everyone is going to get something for free with each $500 more we raise above the $7,000 total. So, and I have them lined up. I know what I'm going to send everybody. So yeah, we need to hit that 7K first, and then I'll start talking about what comes after with our stretch goals. Yeah.
Well, what are the chances that we move the needle over the course of this conversation? I know it's wishful thinking, Curtis, but I'm going to hit
positive thinking.
Positive thinking. It is positive thinking.
Yes, definitely.
Let's see. I'm refreshing the screen.
Oh.
Not yet. Well, see, the cool thing though is that we're going to be like these things. We replay them ourselves, of course, but then we're also connected with CromCon, which is like an online comics convention that's happening right now. So
Oh,
They've offered to like air all of our replays, and they are so like Kickstarter focused.
Yeah.
excellent. I'd love to have some people get into this, and let me know that you found it through here. If you do, if you did find Shaolin Nun, if you'd never heard about it and you found it because you're watching the Comics Foo show, reach out, let me know. Maybe comment on the video, and Patrick can tell me on the YouTube video, or send me a comment and just let me know that's where you found it. Because only by watching this far into it, we're an hour in. Only by watching it, you would only know that I offered you this, but I will send you a sticker.
Nice.
It's just Mayan. My Leaping Mayan sticker fits great on a water bottle, as you can see.
That's great.
And these are good vinyl stickers. They'll hold up really well on a water bottle, and I will send it to you as part of your order if you order at a physical level. I'm not going to send it to you if you order at a digital level. That's kind of hard. I'd have to get your address and stuff at that point. But yeah, I will get you, maybe you walk up to me at a convention and say, so I backed you because of this, and I ordered at a digital level. I'll probably just hand you a sticker. But yeah. Just depends on how it goes. But yeah, if you do that, I will throw a sticker in just for you, because I want people to, I've discovered this show. I know you've only been doing it a year previous to this, but I discovered this show because Patrick reached out to me, started watching it, and I said, wow, this is great. Why hasn't this been on my radar?
It's the algorithm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys do the conventions? Curtis and Patrick, you guys do any conventions?
Haven't post COVID, but I plan on getting back into action probably in this year. So definitely. How about yourself?
The last one I did was Baltimore. So my plan is to do it again this year near Comic-Con, maybe 2 or 3 other ones. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, I think I might be going to Comic-Con this year. Fingers crossed. So definitely, we should all connect and stay in touch.
That would be cool.
Well, yeah, part of our master plan is some kind of Comics Foo panel in person where like a bunch of us can just geek out on comics and kung fu and just go deep, why you should have a multi-panel layout versus a single image montage if you're going to convey Wing Chun versus Choi Li Foot. I don't know, just like
definitely. I don't think we should be coy. And Patrick and I had one night where we talked after the show. We went even further because of our love for martial arts, kung fu, and comic books. We said we have to have a lion dance cosplay competition. We have to have we have big plans, right, Patrick?
Yeah. I mean,
I support it.
All sorts of Drake. I mean, I won't bore you with the details, but if we can get cosplay plus a martial art demo sort of thing,
yeah,
I think that would top my ideas for Shaolin monks versus zombies. But
well, in the meantime, maybe we'll go around. Everybody can kind of mention where of course the campaign's on Kickstarter right now for Shaolin Nun. So please check that out. But for everybody individually, maybe we could go around. Everybody can just let the audience know where they can find you online, where they can keep in touch, keep track of all your projects. Maybe we'll start with Sifu Carter, if you'd be so kind.
Mine's pretty easy, jccarter.info, and you can find out everything. I have my resource pages for Taijiquan for my students. I have resource pages for yoga. I have stuff for all my writing projects, including Shaolin Nun. And then go to shaolinnun.com/Kickstarter, and you're there. shaolinnun.com/Kickstarter. And that will take you right to the Kickstarter campaign. Or just go to shaolinnun.com, and you can see a landing page, basically, that I built. It isn't doing anything right now except getting people to Kickstarter, but yeah.
Great. Excellent. And Greg, how about yourself? Maybe where can folks find you and keep track of you online?
So, like I said, you can find me personally at the conventions. I'll be doing a few conventions, but online, my main social media is Instagram, which is Greg Mal, Greg MAL_ART on Instagram. I also have that on Twitter and TikTok, but I'm pretty dormant there. Yeah.
Excellent. Very good. And Taya, how about yourself?
Oh, I'm just trying to get into Instagram, so it's _S_Taya. I know I'm all extra, but I'm still trying to get into social media and stuff. So support us, and it's really helpful. The Shaolin Nun is a big part of what I'm trying to do now. So yes.
And we may or may not be dragging Taya into Instagram because I keep posting. I have a daily meme, or I do every other day. I do a meme or a basically an ad piece that I put up on Instagram, and I tag Taya, Greg, Laurie, Lala on it. When it goes on to Facebook, I tag everybody but Taya, who's not on Facebook yet. Twitter, I'll tag everybody if I can. I do a lot of, I push all the marketing myself, and I'm a slave to the algorithms, unfortunately, because it used to be you could put something out there and the whole world would hear about it, and now it's just your inner world. My inner world's all back to me, so I need to. I was like, let's branch out and get some of these some people backing us. Yeah,
No, definitely, and I think you touch upon something that most people don't fully understand unless they're doing it. Being in the crowdfunding sphere, independent comics, we have the writer, the artist, but you're not just the writer and artist. You're also the marketing, you're the promotions, your sales. There are all these different things. I mean, everybody's working their tail off on this, and I don't think everybody. We always going to praise you for your work on the book, but I don't think independent creators get praised enough for taking that jump, taking on the business aspects, taking the time. Everybody's probably has work and other things that they have to do. I mean, we all have to get looking nice for the camera and set the camera up and make sure that the ham sandwich is out of the background and all that kind of stuff, right? So you want to back these kind of projects, not only because it's a great project, but because of the people involved and what they're doing. They're really putting themselves out there beyond just the work of creating the project. So please check out Shaolin Nun. I've already made my backing, and it's has the Sifu Fujita stamp of approval. So definitely check it out, please, everybody. Okay.
All right. And I mean, we're running pretty much all in the same direction, right, towards the same goal. So definitely would, I mean, and we spent an hour and there's still so much we didn't even cover in terms of origin stories or some of your other writings. So we should definitely try and do an update as we get closer to our finish lines.
Absolutely.
And make sure that we all meet them, meet our goals on that tip.
Our other projects are kind of secret at the moment, but we're happy to talk a little bit about them. But yeah, as much as we dare, so that they're not, it's funny. On one hand, you could stand in a stadium and say, "This is what I'm working on," and it's all creators, and they just go, "Oh, that's cool," and then they go back to whatever they're working on. Yeah. But on the other hand, you always worry somebody's going to take your idea and run with it and get it out before you do. I know when the Kung Fu series relaunched on CW, and I thought, oh, if they shave her head, I'm in a lot of trouble. And I was actually disappointed that nobody in that temple that she trained at had their head shaved. I was really kind of bummed by that. And I like that in the first episode, her brother, when she comes back home, her brother says, she goes, so they kind of are snarking at each other. And he says, "Where's your shaved head and robe?" And I said, "Yeah, that's what I want to know." But at the same time, I'm not in trouble now. So yeah, it's. I was a little worried, a little nervous. Everybody else was like, "Hey, have you heard about this show, Warrior Nun?" I said, "Not worried about that one. That is based on another comic book that doesn't even touch mine." So yeah, we're fine.
We gotta get those viewers, looking at those comics, because
exactly, yeah,
clearly we can see where the quality
if I could attract the viewers of Kung Fu, I would love it, because I'm enjoying the series. It may be a little too woo-woo magical for me, but I'm having fun with it anyway. So yeah,
definitely. Well, good. Well, just a reminder, Sifu Carter, has the Kung Fu background, so he has the Kung Fu acumen, and we have two artists here from with the Milestone, pedigree, that Milestone Media, believes in. So I mean, this is a really good crew, unique vision, really great book. So please, everybody, check it out, and don't forget to share. That's a huge thing I think we forget to mention sometimes. Not only back it, but also share it. Help get the word out because it extends more and more. So please do that. Okay.
Let people know. Share it out to your friends, family, coworkers, total strangers. Stand on a rooftop with a bullhorn. They go to SHAOLINNUN.com/Kickstarter. You will not regret it. Back the book now. That's what we want people to do. I don't care what it takes. I'll go door to door if I have to in the last few weeks if I have to. But yeah, we want to get this out. We want people backing this book, and we want to hit our goals so that everybody gets paid. Poor Taya had to work for free, and I feel terrible about it. I actually really do feel terrible about it. But I wanted to get the penciling done early because last time we had a long wait because the Milestone Initiative happened right in the middle of us doing issue 3. So Greg had a lot of other things he had to do while drawing issue 3. So it took us a lot longer to get issue 3 drawn. And I thought, let's try to get the pencils done as early as we can, as much as we can. And then I pushed the launch twice and finally said, okay. And she sent me the last page. I said, okay, we're going January. We're doing it.
Excellent. All right. Well, everybody, there's the link. Make sure to check it out. And pretty much it, huh, Patrick? I think we'll...
I think so. Well, what I was thinking is like normally we end by dropping our 2 credits, our 2 videos as like the closing credits. But I was thinking rather than saving, a little secret surprise, that we just simply add the Shaolin Nun trailer to our array of closing credits.
I agree. And I think Greg, you have something to add?
Yeah, real quick. I just want to give a shout out to Laurie Foster, the inker of the Shaolin Nun, Lala Narita, and Andrew Millen, who's an unsung hero. So yeah.
Yeah, we couldn't do this without Andy. Andy Malin, our letterer. Oh boy. As a graphic designer, I said, well, I'll do the lettering. It's an art. It is absolutely an art. And Andy, fortunately, is a friend of mine locally here in Utah, and he said, I'll do it for you. And I'm like, bless you, sir. Bless you. And he took it on, and it's amazing. It's beautiful. The ideas, the ideas he had. And what I like is that I let everybody kind of run with it. I told them in one way or the other, if I wanted to play God, I would have written a novel. Then I could control everything. But I wanted to make this collaborative. I want to use art, which means if you get to a page like Taya, if you get to a page, she told you she got to a page, she's like, 1 panel, that ain't going to work. Let's make it 3 panels. And I'm like, good. Yeah, that's what I want to see. I don't want to, we're not slaves to my writing, because what I see in my head, I may not have described as accurately as I could have on the page, or it may be something that you want to play with, and I'm not going to object to it.
That's great.
I know Greg would change camera angles on me all the time, and I thought, wow, that's so cinematic. That's what I want to see, is that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's what I want to. Yeah. So yeah, it's a team effort, and without Laurie, without Lala, without Andy, this would be even harder to do. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, and that work needs to be compensated. These artists need to get paid.
Yeah. Like I said, the monks need rice. That's what you say. But
and unfortunately, at the independent level, you're paid about a rice salary.
Yeah. It's kind of, But we're just trying to go from rice to fried rice. That's the level. That's what we want, right? Something a little more. So please check it out. Thank you so much.
So check it out, Story Comic, right? Barney Smith joined us on Wednesday, on Wuxia Wednesday, Curtis, I was telling you about.
Yeah.
Barney is also a world-traveling interviewer. His series Story Comic is such a good time. So Barney, you really should talk to these folks, because
Barney,
it's
jccarter.info. Hit me up. You can find my information there.
Excellent.
And so and once again, Barney, thanks for coming by. This is awesome to see you. Let's see if I can.
There you go.
There we go.
There we go.
Well, maybe Patrick, as we close out, I think the first trailer we should play should definitely be Shaolin Nun, so that everybody can get one more good look at it after they've gotten all this information about how it was made. And
yes, indeed. And look at that, instant results. So we're all about elevating the voice. So Barney, hold on a second, because I want to show you this awesome trailer. And once again, let me just personally thank you all for being a part of this. Let's do it again soon.
All right. Take care, everybody. We'll be in touch, and we'll see you at the finish line. Okay. Hello.
As a kid, I loved Kung Fu movies. So I went to Chinatown, trained with a wise teacher, and became a Kung Fu master. Sounds simple, right? Not really. My journey, like the study of Kung Fu, was as arduous as it was rewarding, filled with as many secrets as revelations and as much heartache as triumph. It's a defining moment in my life, and while I began studying Kung Fu to learn how to fight, what I discovered was a way to live. Martial arts never came easy to me. I was far from talented, and even farther from being the chosen one. It was only through years of tenacious perseverance that I was able to make steady progress. And so, I was surprised when my master told me that I should teach Kung Fu and share the art outside of Chinatown. I did just that and taught Kung Fu to my own students for 20 years. I always wanted to do more to share the art of Kung Fu with others, but was limited by only being able to teach those within my immediate area. What about the rest of the world? Then one day, I had one of the deepest insights about Kung Fu. I realized that the punches, kicks, throws, and myriad of martial maneuvers are merely the delivery system for the true essence of Kung Fu, the philosophy and way of life. Having worked for years as a professional artist and storyteller in film, animation, video games, and comic books, I realized that I could draw upon this unique skill set to share my passion for Kung Fu with the greater world. And so I created Shadow Ghost, the Kung Fu comic by a Kung Fu master. The first issue is created entirely by myself, from story and art to colors and lettering. Every panel is filled with unprecedented accuracy in its depiction of Kung Fu by a comic book creator who knows from first-hand experience what it means to be a Kung Fu master. Shadow Ghost is a martial arts coming-of-age story about a young man whose search for the truth about a legendary hero leads him to study Kung Fu, and through a twist of fate becomes part of the legend himself. For the first time in comic book history, you can immerse yourself further in each issue with Kung Fu skills technology, powered by Tiger Crane Kung Fu. Scan the QR code at the back of the comic and follow an exclusive link to an online instructional video where I teach you Kung Fu techniques featured in this series. With Kung Fu skills technology, you can do more than just read about the Shadow Ghost saga. You can become a part of it. The first issue is completely finished and ready for print. All that's needed is for you to make a pledge of support so that we can fund the printing of the first issue. Together, we can share the wisdom of Kung Fu with the greater world. Shadow Ghost is the story of Kung Fu. It's about the people, the art, the culture, and the philosophy. It's my story and the story of those that I've learned from, taught, fought, and loved. Join me and become part of the vibrant legacy in a place and time where we might not be the chosen one, but where we can make a choice to be part of something bigger and greater than just ourselves. I'm Sifu Curtis Fujita, and this is Shadow Ghost, the Kung Fu comic by a Kung Fu master.
Hi, I'm Plugo, author, illustrator, comic creator, and the art director for Kung Fu Magazine for more than 20 years. But I'm here to talk to you about a project that's really special to me. It's a middle grade graphic novel, A Tiger's Tale. Imagine the story of tigers and dragons and martial artists and monsters. So when I launched the campaign for A Tiger's Tale Volume 1, I did not know what to expect, but it succeeded thanks to a group of passionate backers. It was also awarded the Make More Comics art grant that year and was later featured as part of an art gallery exhibit. And that's why I'm coming to Kickstarter, to cover production fees, printing, copy editing, things like that. Books completed, with the exception of a few pages I've set aside for color over the course of the campaign. This turned out to be a popular feature of Volume 1's campaign, so I thought I'd bring it back for Volume 2. I think it's going to be great fun for everyone. Hope you'll support the campaign. I'm very excited about it. Thanks for stopping by.